casser la gueule. Bonjour.
The dragon stares you down with flinty, intelligent eyes. He tries to speak, but his jaw is bound tightly by the same thick chains that shackled him to the pillars.
Ok. Ils sont tous en train de se peler le cul. Hein? Coup de froid, vitesse de placement, esquive, dégâts de feu, plus 10, dégâts d'air, d'accord. Bonjour, bonjour.
The freed dragon looks sick and pale. As you approach, he stretches his tattered wings weakly and fixes his intense gaze upon you. Frozen tears glint in his eyes.
My gratitude for your efforts, friend. Yet I am no more free now than I was in those chains. Please, help me find true liberty, or sing me to the endless slumber. But of course, that must be why you stand before me. Slain called to the Lord of Death, and here you are. A coincidence.
Et répondre d'un sourire si bien, vous n'en savez pas plus sur la mort que sur la vie. C'est clair, je suis mort vivant. Donc,
Ah, my fate, it seems, is not my own to call. My soul is bound to joyless obedience, purged of my source by the wickedest of witches. I stand in thrall to her every whim. She has only to command, and my traitorous body complies. The witch Rebecca. I was in love with her once. For the smallest slight, really a trifle, she wielded a purging one against me, enslaving me to her will. Now only my voice remains my own. She trekked far underground beneath a nearby tower, seeking ingredients for her vile potions.
Une tour proche.
I can feel her dark heart beating within my own, even from here. I await her return, yet I would prefer to welcome death in the sight of her face again. That you would even ask such a question of a stranger already in your debt. There is much goodness within you, but this task would not be easy. Rebecca is a canny one, cat to your mouse. She consumed all my source with her purging wand. So long as she holds it, she has absolute control over me. If you could retrieve it for me, I could be free again.
Ok, on va te
You would
libérer.
have my gratitude, and whatever aid I can then offer to you.
Très bien, allons-y. T'inquiète pas. Putain, un peu d'armure et tout, lui. Hein.
The ancient wooden door reeks of salt and seaweed. Not a single nick or gouge mars the detailed face carved across its surface. It also has no lock or handle, but when you run your fingers across the wood, the carved face comes to life.
Oula.
This ship has the claim of the captain. Unless you belong to Sect Zapper, I suggest you leave. Beat us, break us, green black sea. We are slaves, only to thee.
The door swings open with a creak.
Heureusement que j'ai chopé ça et que j'ai pu le lire. Alors, bonjour, bonjour. Et c'est le capitaine Sexaport. Et ouais, mec. Petite sauvegarde, histoire d'être sûr. Bonjour.
These once magnificent quarters have fallen into rotten disrepair. As your eyes adjust to the dark, you see Captain Sec Zapor, now gallantly dressed.
Salut, Sec.
Why can't you just stop?
J'ai ta jarre spirituelle, petit con.
I still have that account to settle, do we? Go on, give it here. Ye got some spirit of the learning sword. My pride demands calling your bluff. So pray to your gods. There's some truth in it. Rise, crew. End
Merde.
this!
Oh! Très bien. Toi, tu veux filer tes points. Je vois même pas où tu en es là.
Beat us, break us, green black sea. We are slaves.
Douleur dans la poitrine. Oula, ok. J'espère que ça va. Et moi, j'en suis... je viens de trouver la cage du capitaine Sexapor. Avec son truc du capitaine. Et j'ai été parler au dragon. Dragon de glace qui était enchaîné. Donc je l'ai dégrafé de son truc. Et je vais aller voir l'autre
We are
sorcière.
slaves only to thee. My jar remains. I wait. I will reclaim.
D'accord.
A tall
Et qui
woman
concernera...
stands amid
Merde.
a field of corpses, some fresh, some ancient. The sour smell of them stings your nostrils, your eyes. As you draw nearer, the stench blooms into a humid flavor you can almost taste.
L'horreur. Et qui concernera sans aucun doute le curry de fondu de poireau. Pardon.
The woman turns to you, bitten lips parting into a grin. She tucks a small bunch of black red roses into a leather strap across her left hip and, preparing to curtsy, offers you a hand.
What a bore.
She stands to her full height, her lips pursed in disappointment. She cocks her head and takes you in. The stench of death and sewage suddenly intensifies.
I am Radica. And you must be here for the same reason as I.
Alors sans doute pas, non?
She pats the bouquet at her hip.
But you're too late. These roses belong to me.
M'en fous, qu'est-ce que je fous de tes roses?
Looks like we'll have to find some other way to keep you busy.
Sourire en remarquant la façon dont les boucles et fermoirs de sa tenue pressent sa peau couleur caramel, lui dire qu'elle a toute votre attention.
She bites her lip and leans in, close to your face. As she whispers, her breath, faintly fragrant with a sweet honeyish smell, caresses your ear. You almost forget where you are.
I find you rather delicious.
La prendre par la taille et l'embrasser passionnément? Mais c'est quoi c'est?
Suddenly her breath sours in your mouth. It is rank, mouldering, thick with the taint of death. You try to pull away, but she is holding you tight and hard.
En même temps, et c'est... comment il s'appelle? C'est Ifan hein, qui a pris le lead de la discussion. Il se débrouille. Hein.
You hear a low hum, getting louder. Before you realize what's happening, winged insects pour from her throat down yours. They ricochet around your mouth, a wet, buzzing mass, more by the second. Suddenly, all at once, they start stinging you from inside. She stands over you, smiling, and wipes her mouth.
Ni fraîche ni entière.
There, there. There, there. Tell me, little man, do you know why the soil here is so very fertile? Do you know why it's the only place in Reaper's Coast where blood roses grow? It's the corpses, darling. Blood roses only grow in soil rich with corpses.
D'accord.
I'll need more roses soon enough. I already started with the last traveler who interrupted me. Come, let's make next year's harvest a real bounty.
Je vais te pourrir le cul, ouais. Oh! Qu'est-ce que c'est que cette merde? Ouais, du bateau.
You see a glimmer of hope flicker across Slane's eyes as he notices your approach. It's quickly doused with a practiced scowl of the oft disappointed.
Have you brought it? Or am I to remain a slave?
Tiens, voilà ta baguette.
Slane rears back in eagerness, grasping the purging wand with razor-sharp claws. Before your eyes, the source from within the wand surges into his draconic form, filling him with a light so bright that you must shield your eyes from the glare.
Très bien.
The blazing brightness dies down. Squinting, you now see no dragon before you, but the figure of a handsome lizard. A handsome lizard with the same eyes as Slane.
What?
His eyes still blaze, a piercing silver. A triumphant smile dominates his face as he bows extravagantly before you.
Slave. At your service.
Lézard ou dragon?
Neither. Both. I am a dragon knight, the last of my bloodline. Shifting between two shapes is our greatest gift. What I would have given to hear her death rattle. The memory of it would have lulled me to sleep for the remainder of my days.
D'ailleurs, ça va, vous entendez bien au niveau du son, machin et tout se passe bien. Ça marche? Ok.
Knowing that vile woman rests in pieces gives me great comfort. I'd like to offer you the same.
Done.
When you are truly at a loss, when you have no choice but to back down or perish, you will find safety in my shadow. This, I promise. This is an island of many mysteries, of many horrors. I'll learn what I can. Perhaps there is some possible reprieve for the souls who suffer here.
Alors sachant que j'ai un peu commencé déjà à méchamment déblayer l'île hein, quand même.
Slane smiles at you and turns to leave. He takes no more than a few steps before he shimmers out of lizard form, blurring in mid-air back into a majestic dragon that soars away.
Ok. Allez, on va aller parler à Maladie.
Let's go.
Une mestre, elle veut parler de qui?
Boat first, questions later.
Ok, allez hop,
Malady grabs the vessel with two hands and pushes it into the water. She hops on board behind you.
God-woken. Wait till she finds out.
Allez,
Salty
rock'n'roll.
water wets the gauze in which you're wrapped. The bright sunlight seeps into your bones. The boat bobs forward through the water, and Fort Joy shrinks behind you.
Enfin.
Tired but victorious, the party made for the Lady Vengeance. The horrors of Fort Joy behind them. They arrived as sorcerers. They left as God-woken. The fate of this God-forsaken world now rested on their shoulders. Or at least, on the shoulders of one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Looking down at your robes, you see they're damp with blood and the ocean's spray. In the distance, Fort Joy looms.
bad luck to let the dead linger aboard. As soon as we get moving, we ought to clear the deck.
Ok.
I'll be damned if I ever set foot on that island again. Don't care who I have to bury.
I've no sympathy for those who die in the line of duty, especially as odious a duty as those dead magisters held. Onward now. The sooner Fort Joy disappears from the horizon, the better. Perhaps the Seekers need help manning the ship.
The squirrel looks around the boat, chittering excitedly.
Alors, ouais, cool. Non mais alors attends. Attends, il y a juste une couille là en fait. J'aimerais bien... Bon déjà on va looter comme un sale. Ok, chercheur incinéré. On va aller farfouiner ça. M'excuse hein, je loot devant toi.
Don't go any further, Godwoken. We need you alive.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe?
The ship won't sail. We had orders to search every corner of it
boîte
and
de vie.
figure out what's
Ok.
blocking us. It's hewn from elven livewood. I thought I could communicate with it, but
Ok. Donc voilà.
that was Brendan.
C'est pour ça, il
When
faudrait
the
que je
ship
regarde.
didn't answer my call, he touched the figurehead, and it attacked him, without warning. He burned, like he was made of parchment. Nothing. The ship is livewood, that much is clear. But I couldn't communicate with it. The Magisters must have done something, warped it somehow. I just don't know what.
Ok, je vais
Just
faire attention.
remember what I said, Godwoken. If you die, then this was all for nothing.
T'as vraiment une sale gueule en plus. Hein. Ah mais t'es une elfe, ok.
Her eyes
Avec
flickered to the
condoléances.
smouldering ashes once again, her head held at a despondent angle.
Sinon, qu'est-ce que tu vends? Je ferai des tests. Je ferai des tests. Bon, ok, putain, je sais qu'il y a des trucs cool ici.
Thank you. We were held captive together on this ship. He kept my spirits up. Now he's dead.
Eh ouais, triste, hein. Allez, bisous. Putain, il a rien, quoi. Attendez, est-ce qu'il y a moyen... sauvegarde, je vais juste tester. Est-ce que ça va me faire quelque chose?
Before you is a towering figurehead carved in the likeness of a dragon. It looms over the bow, its fangs bared at the open sea.
Image du truc servant à dire que on rend les elfes en esclavage, d'accord. Peut-être parce que du coup c'est un elfe.
At that moment, the ship serendipitously creaks beneath you, almost like it is acknowledging
Ok,
your
c'est juste
observation.
que le navire n'aime pas les elfes. Ça tombe bien, moi non plus.
Searing pain races up your arm.
Sans votre
The
présence,
ship
il a l'air en
senses
colère.
you. It's angry. The pain intensifies. It's spreading past your arm,
Essentiellement,
across
vos
your
poumons
chest.
sont en feu.
Your lungs feel like they're on fire.
Vous avez choisi puisque le rendu ne sera pas le même d'une fonte à l'autre. En tout cas, taille 12 reste c'est généralement ouais, mais taille 12 c'est beaucoup trop beau. Je m'amuse à faire ça en fait. Hein. Je m'amuse à.
Spare me, Gareth. We got what we came for. This is what success looks like.
I won't see them tossed overboard. Not here. We'll hold a proper service.
What's his face and so would want us to get this ship sailing before all else. They died for those Godwoken, after all.
You know their names, Malady. Can't you even pay them that much respect?
Gareth inhales sharply, then catches you out of the corner of his eye and smiles, barely.
Our guest stirs. Welcome, Godwoken. Glad to see you safely aboard.
Putain, ils vont tous m'appeler Godworker maintenant.
Ah, our undead Godwoken. I had nearly forgotten.
Connasse.
Too many.
One too few, actually. Alexander, he's alive.
Ah bon, on va lui pourrir la gueule.
Apparently, didn't hit hard enough.
Ah.
He's in the hold below decks. Unconscious, but alive.
Vous allez en faire quoi, du coup?
Question him. Someone has been hunting your kind, and Alexander fancies himself the only godwoken worthy of ascending. As far as we know, you may even be the last still alive. If Alexander is guilty, he'll face justice.
D'accord.
Yes, we certainly had better, but the ship won't move.
She's mute. We need to free her tongue.
This is barbarous magic.
D'accord.
Expedient magic, actually. The ship is made of live wood. It has the spirit of an elven ancestor tree within it.
Ah, mais il faut qu'on chope Dallas alors, c'est tout.
Found a way to bind that spirit.
Dallas à Dallas.
That means only she can control it, unless we can find a way to break the bond.
The Seekers, the survivors of us, have been combing the ship from bow to rudder. It hasn't been easy. This place is laced with dark magic.
Moi je sais.
These
Là, là, là.
Seekers have such a limited skill set.
Ta gueule, t'as pas
We
fait mieux,
lost a
toi.
man in the search. Malady might not appreciate that, but I do. And I hope you do too.
Ben oui, ça fait chier.
I'm sure the Godwoken will be able to get the ship moving. Their kind like to feel useful, don't they?
Faire remarquer en souriant que vous attendez toujours de voir ce qu'elle sait faire d'autre que rester là à prendre ses airs supérieurs.
Hopefully, you'll never have to find out.
Enfin, pour l'instant, à part blagacer, tu sers pas à grand chose. Yep, c'est ce que t'es constante. Pardon.
Hey, don't I know you from somewhere?
Ouais.
So, we've got quite the task on our hands, haven't we? I have to admit, the whole thing is very intriguing.
Bonne chance de dire que ça fait un plaisir de faire sa connaissance. Putain, quel connard. Dire que vous ignorez ce que vous réserve la suite de votre aventure, mais que vous espérez la découvrir en sa compagnie.
The
Tout à
old
fait.
band back together again, hmm? I guess that depends, doesn't it? Look at me. Hard. What do you see?
Losa leans back slightly, thin arms crossed in front of her chest, and stares at you defiantly from dark eye sockets, darker and deeper set than when you first met. She blows back a lock of white hair, matted with sweat and grime, and holds back a smile from the corners of her lips.
Dire que vous voyez une belle jeune femme qui aurait bien besoin d'un bon bain chaud.
Seriously? Look at me. I look like lukewarm death. This isn't a joke anymore. You see that, don't you? I want to make sure you understand, well, the risks.
C'est comme une partenaire et amie,
You
tout à
don't
fait.
get it. I'm dangerous.
Mais
You
t'inquiète
have to
pas,
pay
on va
attention.
gérer.
You have to be willing to hurt me if I'm hurting you or someone else.
T'inquiète, paupiette.
Can you do that? Do I ever? Still sore from that one. At the time, I wanted you to defend me. I didn't realize how bad things had gotten. I know better now.
Ah non, mais je suis d'accord, hein, mais... Bon, ton truc, ton machin là, qui commence à se retourner contre les autres, c'est un peu moyen quand même.
Something like that
Mais t'inquiète
happens
pas.
again. You do what needs to be done. Deal? Well,
Deal.
all right then.
She pinches your cheek, a sparkle in her dim grey eyes.
I knew I could count on you to murder me in a pinch.
On va éviter d'en arriver là quand même.
Let's go, Chief.
Ah, cool. On a retrouvé tout le monde. Posez à toi là.
Being behind bars suits you, murdering scum.
The Seeker flexes her arms stiffly. Her joints audibly pop. She sees you draw near.
I owe you, Godwoken. Without your help, I'd likely still be a prisoner around here, not guarding Alexander the bloody divine himself.
She nods her thanks and immediately winces, laying her hand on the back of her neck.
Elle a été blessée.
I wish. No, the Magisters kept me chained to the bulkhead. Arms held above me head, feet barely able to touch the deck. Now my joints are paying the price. We're a big bloody target on our backs. We took their leader and their flagship. The Hammer won't stand for that. She'll be hunting for us.
Le magistrat retenu prisonnière. C'est
The
quelqu'un.
Seeker throws a toxic look at the imprisoned Magister.
Ah, ça doit être celle qui l'a gardée, elle, en
Hardly.
truc.
She's just some deckhand. If it were up to me, I'd tie her to the main mast and use her for arrow practice. But Malady wants her alive for now. No, they had her stand below, chained up in the dark. But the Reds were up to something in here. Maybe it was just the lack of food and rest playing tricks. But I swear I heard chanting and horrible moaning coming from here. But when we good luck getting anything out of either of them. Our special guest is out cold, and the other one ain't in much of a talking mood.
Ok. Je sais déjà comment il
Alright
faut...
then, just
voilà.
don't make me regret it.
Pas de souci.
The Seeker has removed one of her gauntlets in order to flex her wrist. It bears inflamed marks from where shackles bit into her. She sees you.
You must be starved for company to linger around here, friend.
Est-ce que je peux y causer à travers le truc ou pas?
A young magister paces around the brig, fussing over Alexander's unconscious form. She leans over and applies a damp cloth to his brow.
Tu vends pas grand-chose. Une pointe de flèche, oui. Ça a l'air safe. Ça a l'air safe de ouf. Remise 28%. Ok, ici c'est lui. Remise 28% quand même, ok. Ouais, ça a l'air safe de ouf
She
là.
notices you observing her. She straightens her back and sets her jaw in a defiant scowl.
Magister Ranley, Corker's mate of the Divine Eminence vessel, Lady Vengeance. That's all the information I'm giving to any of you lot. So stow your questions. Ranley, Corker's mate, Lady Vengeance. Magister Ranley, Corker's mate of the...
The Magister falls silent, but stares at you with unwavering defiance.
Vous employez la manière forte. J'ai grosse force donc... Dans le droit à Alexander tout en disant qu'il ferait bien de ne pas soumettre ses jolis ados s'il ne veut pas qu'il arrive malheur au divin par sa faute. C'est vrai que... ouais, hein, ce serait legit ça. Hein. Mais mon mec est monté pour la force. Voilà. Oh, le fail.
The Magister's stare hardens into an intense scowl.
Ouais, ça va, ça va.
Magister Ranley, Corker's mate of the Divine Eminence vessel, Lady Vengeance.
Bisous. Hop.
Get away from him, sorcerer. That's the Divine.
Des choses importantes à faire.
Prisoner or not, I swore an oath. Touch him again, and I'll kill you.
Ouais, ça va.
Void Server, Worm Killer, Godwoken. You have many names. Let's add
Capitaine de
ship's
navire.
captain to the list once.
Putain, 100 balles les bracelets de téléportation. Bordel de merde. Ok, continue.
Undead is a name I wasn't expecting to call you, mind. When Malady revealed the truth to me, I was unprepared. But Lucian works in mysterious ways. It is his will that brought you to us. The Divine is the avatar of all the gods, my friend. It was through his spirit, and maybe one day yours, that the Seven do speak. You may not speak to him directly, but he is always guiding you. In this, you must trust me. She's not exactly a seeker. She's not exactly an elf either.
Réellement pas une elfe.
Half demon,
D'accord.
Meister Siva says, and I don't doubt it.
Moitié démon, ouais.
I don't know how Siva came to know her, but Malady's a proper ally. She's not easy to like, but there are times I admire her coldness.
Gareth fingers the hilt of his blade. He stares at nothing in particular before turning his gaze back to you.
I won't let the fallen be forgotten. I'd be no better than Dallas, no better than Alexander, if I just tossed their remains into the sea. To think that whelp spawned from greatness. He deserves no better fate than his silent monks. All this blood. Children ripped from families. Seekers ripped from me. He's down there now, guarded like some precious jewel, rather than leashed and flogged like the dog he is.
Je crois qu'il ne l'aime pas.
Amazing to think those of us in the Order once assumed the gods were with him, and only him. That was before we found the others.
Je fais partie de l'ordre des vins. Oui, parce qu'il il nous l'a sous-entendu.
Other Godwoken. When Lucian died, we waited, and waited some more. Alexander never rose to divinity. Then we started to find more like him. We weren't the only ones who noticed either. Not every Godwoken we found was alive. And so the Seekers were born. We found Godwoken, housed them, fed them. I loved them like family. I was naive. But let's leave the past in the past and reach for what's ahead. Driftwood, of course. Little fishing village. Not very welcoming, but you'll brighten it up, I'm sure. Got family near there. Not the adventuring types. For the best, really. Meister Siever's there too. My leader. Our leader. She held the Seekers together when we had every reason to fall apart. Think of her as a teacher. The powers of the Seven stir in you. She'll reveal them to you.
D'accord.
Show you how to manipulate them. Keep Lucian close, Godwoken.
Getting it done, come hell or high water. Likely both, eh?
Ok. Allez, bon, on va aller voir. Oh, pardon, on va aller parler à la porte. Parce que. Attends. On peut. Attends, oui, on peut causer Ifan déjà.
Ifan looks anxious, an unfamiliar look on the lone wolf. Stepping closer, he whispers urgently in your ear.
I know who's hunting Godwoken. It's the lone wolves.
T'as prévu de me buter du coup?
He smiles at you, but his expression is grave.
Ouf. Il aurait pu mal le prendre, c'était pas le but.
We're both Godwoken. We're on the same side.
Pas faux.
I intend to find out. I bet we can track down my old pack and ask some questions. Last I heard, they were camped out near Driftwood.
Alors si personne le clame haut et fort qu'on est à Déide, il y a moyen qu'on passe sous le radar en fait et qu'on se fasse oublier.
In the meantime, let's keep a lower profile.
Ah, attends, Loz, tu vas me causer Viteuf avec...
Still there, Quercus. Do you think it'll ever...
Casse-couille. Hein. Putain, je suis bien par lui causer. Alors, du coup, toi.
The door seems like any door, at least at first. Then you notice its unblemished wood. There is no knot, no scratch, no dent to detract from its apparent perfection.
Putain, mystique érudit, ça donne des bonnes infos. Hein. Ziputotium.
The wood groans and creaks. A face appears in the wood, tortured and tormented. A six-sided indentation is carved on its forehead, as if a gem or amulet had made a mark there. The face vanishes.
Mot de passe force d'âme.
The door remains closed. It seems you need more than a password to open it.
Peut-être un médaillon. Est-ce que j'ai un
The door seems like any door, at least at first. Then you notice its unblemished wood. There is no knot, no scratch, no dent to detract from its apparent perfection. The wood groans and creaks. The face vanishes. The anguished face appears, then vanishes. The door remains closed.
Bon, alors oui, on va Est-ce que lui, on peut lui causer?
Bishop Alexander lies supine on a bare wire cot. Though unconscious, his eyes are only half closed. His swollen jaw hangs open at an odd angle. Bruises swell beneath his eyes, and a shallow gash zigzags from his right ear down to his beardless cheek. Unconscious, he looks more brawny than Bishop. Someone has wiped the Bishop's hands clean and folded them neatly over his abdomen. They rise and fall in shallow, jagged swells. A beautiful six-sided gem rests on the Bishop's chest, hung round his neck by an ordinary oiled rope. The gem sits heavily in your pouch.
Parfait. Du coup, la gemme étrange. 1100 balles. Elle vous renvoie votre reflet, mais déformé. Très bien. Dire combien elle a de points de vie.
No entry allowed.
Non. Attends, quoi?
There's no entry through the starboard door. That won't get you anywhere. Use the other door. Listen up so I don't have to repeat myself again. I am not an entry door.
Échanger pour donner nouveau.
Fine. Answer the security question.
Quelle est la question de sécurité?
Current security measures forbid me from providing the security question.
Mais c'est complètement con. Perception. Yes.
The password is fortitude.
Mais putain.
The face in the door is confused for a moment.
Drat.
Je me suis envoyé, mais j'ai plus l'adresse. Mais putain. Attends, j'allais causer avec Loz. Peut-être que. Et donne notre numéro de téléphone. Est-ce que je peux y causer à elle?
The door is still unmarked, though the memory of the face and its six-sided notch remains with you. The door stays resolutely closed.
On y est avec lui, du coup. C'est lui qui a la pierre.
The door is still unmarked, though the memory of the face and its six-sided notch remains with you. The anguished face appears once more. It dips its forehead towards you and waits. A shudder of pleasure racks the figure in the door. It seems to breathe. All of a sudden, all anguish is gone. It gives you the sternest of looks.
I am summoned. Speak the password.
Force d'âme.
Yes, and yes again. The word is spoken.
Ouvre tout, je te déglingue, suffit de demander. Bah oui. Franchement, je pense que si ça m'avait fait chier, j'aurais fait ça. Et maintenant, le loot. Allez, et là, on va looter comme un porc. D'accord. Allez, maintenant, on loot. Comme des gros sales. Oh, bouclier non identifié, cool. Ah ouais, non, mais là, avec ma compétence de machin, là... Hop, on embarque ça, on peut embarquer ça, on peut fouiller ça, ouais. Le loot, le loot, le loot, le loot, oui, voici le loot, le loot. Oui, voici le délicieux loot. C'est du bon gros loot. Oui, c'est du bon loot. Bouteille vide, bouteille de vin, hop, loot. M'a fait peur ce trou du cul. Bonjour, qu'est-ce que tu vends? Nom de Dieu. Ok. Bon, on a quand même, voilà. Un petit instant, je vous prie.
He clicks together two halves of some type of gauntlet sitting in his lap and turns his full attention to you. A curious smile plays across his lips as he takes you in.
An undead, eh? Wonders never cease aboard this vessel. But beggars can't be choosers, I suppose. Especially when it comes to their rescuers. To whom do I owe my thanks?
Ça semble pas l'inquiéter.
I see no cause for alarm. I'm not some uneducated simpleton, you know. Armor? Such a limiting word, but yes, it serves that purpose, amongst others.
Exactement comme la forgeronne.
Dallas has been keeping me prisoner here, but I try to keep working on my own projects when I can. Took it? No, no. I made it. Have you seen the kind of metalwork the Magisters deploy? This is in a different class to them. As I said, the Magisters left me weakened. But this will help give me the strength to carry on my work. Dallas took a particular interest in me and my skills. I'm an expert in healing, crafting, and more arcane practices. She kept me here to do her bidding. Until you took her flagship from right under her nose, it seems. Oh, yes. And she could be a most cruel mistress, I'm sad to report.
He extends his arm and pushes up the sleeve. Beneath, the skin is withered and discolored, as if it were magically decayed.
She used some form of domination device on me, forcing my hands to do her bidding, and I've ruined them in the process. Oh, cast spells, tinker with relics, meddle with the laws of nature. All the sorts of things power-hungry despots love to do. She had me enchanted dead cat over there, so it would seem alive.
Chat noir?
He clicks the gauntlet into place around his withered forearm, his eyes on you the whole time.
But that damn contraption that she used on me seems to have fogged my memory. The rest is a blur. No! Necromancy is an unsavory practice. Surely you, above all, understand that. Dragged back from your slumber to live some sort of half-life.
Ah, d'accord.
The cat is a cunning illusion that I devised. Nothing more.
His face abruptly creases into a smile.
But come now. Enough of Dallas and dead cats. You've taken this ship and granted my freedom. This is a happy moment. Quite sure. Now I can hardly be held under suspicion for being enlightened. Wouldn't you agree?
Non, c'est juste qu'on n'a pas trop envie que tu
I'm
nous
afraid I
niques la
cannot
gueule.
tell you what I do not remember. Could you pass me that copper wire just there?
He takes the copper with a nod of gratitude. His sleeve slips back, above his elbow. In its crook, you see part of a tattoo. A pattern of concentric circles rendered in black.
Perhaps my memory will come back with time. But for now, I'm afraid there's little more I can add. I'm doing my utmost to be civil to you, under rather trying circumstances. Why must you push me like this? I'm more than a sum of my parts friend indeed. But I fear you might have come to the wrong calculation about me. How about you just let this matter rest?
The Seekers are too trusting by half. We can't just let this healer go free.
I'm not perfect myself. It isn't for me to judge this one.
Ouais, je sais pas, le mec il me...
Something tells me that he'll only bring us woe, but I can't judge him yet.
Parce que j'ai pas... Enfin, je voulais juste qu'on le garde sous surveillance, en fait. Hein. C'est con, hein, mais...
He takes your hand in his gauntlet-clad fist and shakes it. There's a lot more power in his grip than his slender frame would suggest.
Call me Tarquin, and consider me at your service.
Ok, d'accord. On peut lui acheter des trucs directement.
We're barely acquainted. Why should I tell you anything personal?
A flicker of hesitation crosses Tarquin's face. He glances down to his wasted limbs.
You're most persistent. Perhaps our paths will pit us both against the hammer. We will see. But don't claim me as an ally just yet. My allies tend to die.
Ok. Ok. On verra bien. On pourra toujours le zigouiller comme un gros sale. Hein. Au pire, vous voyez, clic droit, attaquer, basta. Hein. Bouteille, bouteille. Du loot. Un tas d'or. C'est là qu'il n'y a rien dedans, je pète une pile. Pyramide de
This looks
téléportation.
like a teleporter pyramid. It could certainly come in handy.
Only one way to find out. Try using it.
Peut-être je vais les causer.
I'm a monster. I click and clack as I stalk my prey.
Mais t'es très bien comme ça.
Tail rattles like a snake's. I suffer.
De quelle manière veux-tu mourir?
Don't touch me. My very being is a curse. Was Tarquin that wretch, that rat? I ate an ill mouse and passed in my sleep, and a brooding boar brought me back on a log. Me miserable. Mumsy? Is she here? Mumsy, where are you? 'Tis I, Booply Bear. I am quite changed, but don't be frightened. You? She sent you?
The cat begins to purr and rub itself on your ankles.
Any friend to Mumsy is a friend to me. I believe the song is around here somewhere. Oh, I don't know. In the direction of over there.
The cat purrs, an eerie clicking sound.
Tell Mumsy to come back soon. Now that I am but bone, I'm too light to trip the moving door. I'm sure there's a rat back there.
Ok. Ah, c'est... D'accord. Bon, alors on va aller causer à l'autre chieuse, là. Donc il y a une chanson.
There you are. I was just thinking of you.
Ah putain, je sais. Ok, je sais comment faire.
Indeed? Excellent. Excellent. You've shown some ingenuity. Now show me more, and search every corner of those quarters. There must be a way to control this ship tucked away somewhere. Naughty lizards.
T'es con.
I wouldn't have taken that rune on the figurehead as a slave scar myself. Well done. We'll need to find the song that'll control it then. Well, you'll need to. Dying to hear them. Meister Siva is one of a rare breed. She'd do anything in the name of a cause, and her cause happens to be you. She's desperate to meet a living Godwoken. She'll be exceedingly pleased we're en route.
Je l'aime vraiment pas, hein, cette maladie.
You'd better not leave her waiting. She's a bit particular. She's the founder of these seekers, and she's powerful. That means something when I say it. Your kind can reach astounding heights. Meister Siva can help you do just that. A place called Driftwood hosts a putrid fish, putrid dwarves, and Meister Siva herself. You'll probably find it quite comfortable.
Mais quel sac à merde! Y a pas moyen de la buter celle-là? Enfin si, hein, mais clic droit, attaquer, mais... ça me fait chier quoi. Ouais, t'inquiète. Juste voir si t'as pas un truc qui file plus 1 en adresse. Et si, plus 1 en adresse là. Ouais, putain, mais tu me fais chier à me les vendre, permettre les trucs. Tout que l'arche ceinture, je suis sûr que c'est un machin que j'avais moi à la base. T'as vraiment pas que je trouve un moyen d'améliorer ça. Bon, allons-y.
The figurehead looms ahead, continuing its silent watch over the seas.
Ok, je vois rien du tout. Je vois pas du tout où c'est qu'il y a une truc.
The deck beneath you groans and trembles, like the ship itself is awaking from a slumber. A deep sigh emerges, unmistakably the sound of a living being.
You are not the witch. You are not Dallas.
No.
You sang the song. Now you must decide my fate. Are you to be my new master? Ask. I am here to serve in all ways.
Must be made willingly. Our home was stolen from us. Magisters destroyed our way of life to end the war they started. Then they uprooted me and
Transforme en avion.
they tore me apart and turned me into this monstrosity.
The bow of the ship creaks downwards on the swell of the ocean. In the breeze above you, the faintest hint of what might have been a melancholy sigh.
Once, I was an elf. I passed away and was reborn as an ancestor tree in a beautiful forest surrounded by kin of both flesh and root. That time has passed. I saw that forest reduced to a dead place. Then I was taken away. My memories were lost, like the leaves from my branches.
The creaking of the ship beneath you ceases, as if it were awaiting your decision with bated breath.
Retrouver son truc, je vois pas trop comment en fait. Hein.
Now I am yours. We may sail whenever you wish.
The ship's deck rocks suddenly, as if out of spite. You're forced to adjust your footing.
My fate is not for me to decide, remember? Master. Have your way with me, but spare me your sympathies.
Ok, comme tu veux.
Ship's awake. Good.
Je m'en fous, à la fin je la libère, hein, tant pis.
Is she ready to sail?
A slow, toothless smile stretches across her face.
Elle est dégueulasse, hein, maladie. C'est définitif.
To driftwood, then.
Ok.
It most certainly is.
Oh ouais, j'ai une bonne équipe là, ça me plaît bien. Larguer les amarres, succès éveillé. Ah putain, c'est cool ça.
With the sun on their backs and the wind in their sails, the God-woken watched Fort Joy shrink behind them. But their capture of the Lady Vengeance had not gone unnoticed.
I respect
Ah.
your mettle, sorcerers. You steal my ship, kill my bishop and ally with demons, but you have no idea what you're really dealing with.
Allez, viens là, je vais te pourrir le cul.
We are ready, mistress.
Yes, but are they?
I swear, mistress. I swear they'll perform admirably.
Very well. Show me. Goodbye, sorcerers. This is my ship. I won't see it taken from under my feet. You act!
Oh, for the love of the void. Listen up. We can't win this one, but I can get us to safety. You'll need to buy me time. Show us what you can do, Godwoken.
Godwoken? Parasites, rather.
I'll take care of it, mistress.
Putain, mais elle va mourir, sérieux.
Power she had. Here, sorcerer. Taste some for yourself.
Ok. Dis donc, soi-disant pour une nana qui est ultra balèze, machin et tout, c'est un peu de la merde. Hein. Heureusement que...
You sang the song. Now you must decide my fate. Ask. I am here to serve in all sacrifice must end.
The bow of the ship.
Once, that time has passed.
The creaking of the ship.
You are kind, but I can never be free again. Not truly. I am a...
The ship's awake. Is she ready to sail?
A slow...
To driftwood, then. It most set forward.
With the sun on their backs and the wind in their sails, the God-woken watched Fort Joy shrink behind them. But their capture of the Lady Vengeance had not gone unnoticed.
take me again, Dallas.
Ok. Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Avec brûlante sur le sol, très bien. Alors toi déjà, on va te faire crever. Et toi la même. Bouc. Voilà. On peut pas dire qu'on repousse à la fin du tour, non? Toi, tu vas... Voilà. 18 000 XP. Putain, on s'est tous pété la gueule.
With the help of the half-demon malady, the Godwoken escaped through the veil that separates life from death.
Ok.
The air here has a familiar smell, like the place you grew up. Old memories begin to well within you, but the sweet sour smell of decay suddenly punctures them. The smell grows stronger. It closes in around you, creeping into your nostrils, through your lips. Then, suddenly vanishes. Now you smell only the faint scent of wood and a cold metallic tang, as yet unfamiliar.
Je peux lui causer là?
Is that a tree? What's hanging from it?
Un arbre là-bas en bas, ouais. Oula. Duna, dieu des nains, Frogir, dieu des orques, dieu des elfes, Amadia. Ça. Ok, donc Amadia déjà elle s'est fait niquer aussi. Okay, déjà il y a une couille quelque part. Putain.
Must be a way across.
Ah bah voilà, parfait.
Armadia. The Lords. How can this be?
Armadia hangs before you, her face cut and bruised, her chest barely moving. You think you see a tear run down her cheek. You lean in. That's no tear. It's sauce. The shimmering liquid is seeping from her wounds and dripping to the ground below her. Tight coils wrap Tyr's and Elias from head to foot. His still face is set to a glowering sneer. Ever-tightening cursed branches constrict the great dwarven god Duna. His eyelids flutter and his face, bluish and bloated, nods. Before you hangs a great ethereal orc, his face twisted in a knot of pain as cursed tendrils constrict. Ralik hangs limp from the tree, cursed branches constricting him, snake-like from foot to shoulders. His helmeted head hangs slack at his side, but a barely audible wheeze rasps from his lips.
Hurry!
Cursed tendrils tighten around Zolstissa. Her lips are moving, but no... A small, stout imp winces under the countless... Your whispered blessing slithers up the tree, cutting the heavy, dark vines that hold Armadia in place. She jolts awake with a gasp, golden light pouring from her eyes.
My child. Oh, my dear child. Blessings be that you are here. Blessings be that they did not get you too.
She flinches away from your touch.
No, do not. Dear Fane, I know you mean well, but please, it is not necessary. The king's minions have done their worst for now. I knew I was right to trust in you, even the other gods.
She pauses, looks over her shoulder and sees the others hanging from the tree, all but lifeless for the first time.
Our brothers, our sisters. This is perfect. No, it is too late for them. You need that source more than they. I do not say this out of malice. I say it out of love. My love for you, Fane. My love for our people. These misguided fools would sacrifice this world to the very forces that saw us strung up like so much fruit. No, we are the only hope to save this world. You and I alone. But we must hurry. The king's minions are close. They are so close. As I hung from the tree, I had a vision. I saw Rivellon overrun by monsters, void-woken creatures that destroy all in their path. They are his servants, and that is his threat, his promise. You can't let it happen. You have to stop him. There was a time when you wielded tremendous power. You must search within yourself and unlock that power once more. And then, you must ascend to divinity. Once Lucian the Divine united the powers of the Seven against the Void. He led the people of Rivellon to glory. Now, Fane, you will do the same. But unlike Lucian, you will not fail. No, Lucian was weak. Lucian was mortal. You are neither. You will rise as the eternal divine, or the world will fall to the void.
Pourquoi j'ai l'impression qu'Amadia, une fois que je serai devenu divin, elle va me niquer la gueule et me chouraver mon pouvoir.
A Godwoken must become divine, but we cannot trust these mortals. If we are to have a future, that Godwoken must be you, Fane. So go, my champion. Go and claim divinity.
She starts to answer, but her eyes change, turning from their gentle glow to a dark shimmer. She looks up and gasps.
No, I see them. The servants of the king, the forces of the void. They're here. Fly, dear Fane, fly!
White-hot cold pierces your heart like a blade. You are frozen to the spot. The burning ice pumps through you like a curse, and then...
Elle est toujours en mode cochon pendu. Hein. Ok, qu'est-ce qui se passe?
Where is everyone?
The same troubled look is visible on each face. You've seen the gods beaten and defiled, strung up as a warning.
The void has been pushed back before by the power of mortals. The gods couldn't handle it, but maybe we can.
I've got my weapon, I've got my wits, and now I've got a new enemy. If the void wants me, well, I say let it come. I'm ready.
Gods, schmods. They aren't interested in me, and I'm not interested in them. It seems whatever's inside me is more powerful than any of them anyway. Or at least more cunning.
Il est là.
Where have you been? I can't keep this up much longer. We need to go. There's no time. I can't hold us here. Brace yourself. This might hurt. A lot.
Merde.
The chill of the Hall of Echoes clung to the Lady Vengeance as it returned to the shores of Reaper's Coast. The Godwoken were alive, but what of the gods?
Solid ground materializes beneath your feet. Your weight falls back into your body all at once, and bright sunlight suddenly illuminates your surroundings. As you look around, you realize you're still aboard the Lady Vengeance. A gust of fresh sea air caresses you, and warm sunshine coaxes the bones of your skull and hands to tighten pleasantly.
Oh, one moment, please. Oh, just a moment.
Malady explodes in a fit of retching that racks her body. At last, she sneezes and expels a glob of something shiny and silver onto the deck. It wriggles quickly off the siding and plummets into the sea with a splash.
Okay.
Better. Let's not do that again anytime soon. Hmm? Well, we needed to escape, didn't we? So I took us the one place I was quite certain Dallas couldn't follow. I suppose you recognized the Hall of Echoes from those visions you'd had before. Realm of the dead, realm of divinity. I do hope you learned something useful on our little field trip. Desperate how? Oh, fine. 1, spooky magic. 2, only half a demon actually. My mother was a bitter elf named Loda. 3, just a bit of leftover effluvia from the spell. 4, more than I can count. 5, something too horrible to mention by the light of day. And now that I've answered every question a sane person could conceive to ask of me in this moment, let's carry on. I see. So, your god seemed uncharacteristically frightened, told you the void was coming, and that only you could ascend to divinity, after which you felt a cold deep within you. Well then, it sounds like you need to ascend, doesn't it? And quickly.
She inspects her fingernails with great attention, then looks up at you from under an arched eyebrow.
Did they mention how you were meant to become the next divine? Oh, what confidence you inspire. Luckily for you, Mama Malady is here to help.
Oula.
We already know you can bless, but as far as I know, you can neither see source nor take it as you see fit. I may not know much about divinity, but I do know that any godwoken worth their salt will know how to perform all these oh-so fantastic feats. You need to go see the Meister. have I, but not in the ways a true God-woken can. Forget those ghastly little jars and wands to which small people must resort. You ought to be able to see and speak to the spirits that wander our realm, and you ought to be able to extract the source they leave behind, too. All this just by your little old onesie. No devices, no gimmicks. When you're done, you'll be able to amass and unleash quantities of source so great the Lucian himself would blush. I quite look forward to seeing it. She's got one of those things in Driftwood, you know, the building where people go and they do things inside of it. Home, that's it. She's got a home in Driftwood. Give me your map. There you are. Tell her I sent you and she'll handle the rest. You're at the beginning of a long journey, Godwoken. Long, but exceedingly interesting. Now, I must be going, and so must you. Shopping. Why, our faithful little sloop, of course. We can all ride together. Won't that be terribly fun? Before you go, if I'm not back by the time you find out where our journey takes us next, you can call me back here. Tell the ship. She'll know how to summon me. And in the unlikely case you don't manage to do whatever it is you'll need to do to become what you need to become, you could call me, but I would be grateful if it doesn't come to that.
It's still there.
Allez, on va monter les niveaux et ensuite on va partir manger. À 20h, faut que je sois là pour le JDR. Parce que ce soir c'est JDR, c'est du Cthulhu. Ça va être cool. Du coup, donc désolé. On relance à 20h15, comme ça laisse entre 20h et 20h15 le temps que tout le monde revienne et que je puisse moi lancer à côté le bignou. Donc je vous dis bon appétit et à tout à l'heure pour La Croisière s'amuse.